Hello and welcome to Model Dads. Today, thanks to Will, we're going to have a play with the Plastic Soldier Company's new range of weathering washers. The Plastic Soldier Company's weathering washers are available in a box set of 8 30ml bottles and currently 2 aerosol sprays. Intended for weathering vehicles and scenery, these ready mixed dyes are water soluble and can be wiped and smudged with a damp cotton bud or cloth when dry, and are very similar to Model Mate's railway weathering products. Weathering washers are intended to be painted on and are available in 8 colours: light grey, dark grey, soot, khaki green, light brown, dirt brown, dark earth and rust red. Aerosol cans currently come in 2 colours, light and dark brown, and are intended for larger scale scenery and vehicle weathering projects. The washers are attractively packaged and available for £30 plus postage and packing. That's about £3.75 for a generous 30ml of wash. Aerosols retail at £8.95 each for 250ml. Let me introduce you to Erika, my old Britannia Miniatures 20mm practice Panzer. I've painted her up in Vallejo model colour Middlestone and Russian green to try out the paint-on washers, figuring that these are 2 of the most common base coats applied to armoured fighting vehicles. The base coat has been allowed to dry for 2 days and is not protected with a layer of acrylic gloss varnish, as I would if I was applying an enamel-based wash. First up, I used a dark earth and light brown wash to fill the panel lines. In order to ensure the dye is properly mixed before every application, you must shake the bottle to activate the internal ball bearing. Dye went on smoothly and dried quickly in about 10 minutes. The instructions state to apply a light coat, but you can see I got a little heavy-handed at times, wanting capillary action to do most of the work, but this did leave some quite significant tidal lines. Next, I used a soft brush as well as a sponge makeup remover to remove the dye from the flat surfaces. I'm used to doing this with enamel wash and odourless turpentine, but it was more convenient to use water as the solvent, and I was easily able to blend the dye to ensure a smooth transition in colour. But this led me to my first problem. However careful I was with the removal of the water-based wash on an acrylic base coat resulted in its thinning or removal, particularly around areas in high relief. I tried the rust red and soot black to weather the exhaust, hatches and lower hull. These colours went on well and enabled me to create some nice streaking effects. If I'd have ended the review here, the Plastic Soldier Company's washers would have got a resounding thumbs down. But before delivering such a negative verdict, I felt obliged to try them over their own Army Spray base coat. I chose a 15mm half-track base coated in Plastic Soldier Company's Dunkelgelb armour spray, and the results were much better. Using a cotton bud this time, I was able to easily remove the excess wash without ruining the base coat, with good results on the running gear. I decided to try the weathering washers on pre-painted resin buildings to see how they worked here. I applied dark grey to the roof of this Games of War house, and then green khaki to represent some moss. I wiped the surface with a soft brush, the makeup remover and my trusty thumb. Soot black was added to the chimney. The surface of the resin prevented the wash taking in some areas, but as you can see the effects here are pleasing, and I was able to quickly work up a nicely weathered effect. Enthused, I went to work around the rest of the house with light brown, and this is what I ended up with. Again, the base coat had not been eroded and I was able to achieve a suitably weathered roof. I'm sure my basic technique will improve with some practice. The Plastic Soldier Company's Weathering for Gamers washers are a convenient, cost-effective and forgiving way of batch weathering large quantities of armoured fighting vehicles and scenery. Stain is easily applied, manipulated and removed through the more or less judicious application of water. But herein lies the problem. If you use unprotected standard acrylic base coat, my experience is that these washers will degrade this unless it is protected first. If you're using Plastic Soldier Company's Army Sprays or something similar, you're not likely to experience this problem unless you've added further acrylic highlights and or layers like tricolour camouflage. If this is the case, then I would suggest an enamel-based paint or gloss varnish before weathering, but without trying this I can't be sure. If not, then pin washers might be the way to go, with extra care taken when removing any overwash. If you're working on an enamel or non-acrylic surface, then these weathering washers work fine as long as they can adhere to the surface texture. As a gamer, looking to weather my 15mm armoured fighting vehicles that have been undercoated with Plastic Soldier Company's army sprays, but will then be highlighted with further layers of acrylic, I'm not tempted to replace my existing enamel washers. That said, where I'm working on non-standard acrylic painted buildings, like Games of War's Normandy houses and shops, then I'll happily use these weathering washers to dress down my real estate. Be interested in others' experiences.